a little trip with me, and hopefully you can see how the hood, suburbs, and Main Street are all connected. Enough respect, I mean, we network across the globe, cause it's a global market in case you didn't know. And since we all about information flow, let me be the first one to welcome you to Tech Zone with Paul Amadeus Lane. Let's talk tech, cause technology changing the game. It's all good in the hood, it's everywhere. Now let's get to the show, cause we live on air, yeah.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Tech Zone. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. I'm your czar of technology, and I'm so happy to have you with me on the show today. Remember, you can always catch up on episodes on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, iTunes. You got it. We have you covered. Go to my website, paulamadeouslane.com. That's the best way to connect with me via social media, send me messages, or to just say hello. And we thank you guys so much for sharing your episodes, downloading the episodes, and watching us on YouTube as well. You may be asking, how can I check out the video segments of this show? Well, go to YouTube. If you Google Paul Amadeus Lane, that takes you to my YouTube channel, and you can check out some past episodes. And I can't believe we are on episode number 52, I believe. Isn't that right, Sean? Wow, time flies, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to be with you and to talk tech, talk entertainment. It's just been a blast. Hey, on our show today, we're going to finish up our Comic-Con review that we've been doing, some of the show press rooms that we went to, and the technological aspects of some of these shows were amazing. And that's why I went to highlight and talk to some of these shows at the press room, because if you notice the way technology is going today, these shows look phenomenal. I mean, go back to old Battlestar Galactica days, you know, the way the ships looked and everything. Now things are growing, and it's due to technology. Now, before we start with our first segment and the interviews that we have during the segment, big news broke this week in a streaming platform. Some of you may not be aware of it, but Disney is going to start its own streaming platform service beginning in 2019. Remember, you can now check out some of the Pixar movies and productions on Netflix right now, right? Not no more. They're getting ready to stop that in 2019. And we're starting to see a trend now with Amazon, with HBO, with Time Warner and the streaming services. They are throwing in billions of dollars to streaming content now because they see that they can make more money, be more profitable by doing that. So what is that going to do to traditional TV? I will tell you what's going to do to it. Just look at the signs now and watch them. Look at Time Warner. Look at Spectrum. Look at Dish Network. Look at DirecTV. You notice the killer deals you can get now on those different services right there, and they want to lock you in for 2 years because they see the light of what's happening. My prediction is, and you know I am a part-time Nostradamus, is that I say within the next 5 years, we may see the end of Dish Network. You may see the end of DirecTV, Time Warner, Spectrum, as we know it. And you're going to see them go to a more streaming content-based service, because if you look at it, they can really tell how many is really watching at that time when they're streaming. Because right now with the Nielsen and Arbitron ratings, we get this a lot in radio and television, especially our advertising team. Well, how many listeners do you have? Are you on Arbitron or Nielsen? See, what happens with those type of diaries, they can be fudged, right? Because what they do is they take maybe like a portion of the population, let's say about 8 to 10% of the population, and that's the ones that do the diaries. And what they do now is on an average, put that with the average of, let's say if it's 3 million. So whatever the 8 to 10% of the population is doing, what they do is come up with an average of how many listeners and viewers that they have. And it's really not accurate. But with streaming, there's no more funny business now. You will know how many times your content is being streamed, who's watching it. You probably won't be able to find out how many are watching at that time, but you're going to start to see maybe how many is viewing at this time, and you can put it in there. But it's really going to change the game. No more fudging the numbers. The way technology is now, hence the Tech Zone, things can get a little bit more accurate now. And advertisers are going through that. That's just like the podcast for the Tech Zone. I can tell how many people are downloading, are listening to it, and even on YouTube, I can tell how many people are watching it and access it. And then in turn, we can take that to different advertisers, different sponsors, and say, this is what we have. And it's hard data. It's not something you can fudge the numbers with. So things are changing when it comes to the way that we watch television and consume it. I mean, think about it. My prediction, 5 years, we're going to see the end of cable and satellite as we know it, and something else is going to really morph from that. All right. Well, enough of me giving you the doom and gloom. I hope you don't work for, DirecTV or Dish Network or Charter and everything. I gave you the doom, but trust me, more technology is out there, and you'll be able to survive. See, trust me, believe me. I always wanted to say that. But on this show, again, we're going to be talking about some of our great guests that we interviewed at Comic-Con. And first up, had an opportunity to talk to a few of the castmates for the sci-fi show The Expanse. Are you familiar with The Expanse? Well, if you're not, I'll give you a little rundown of this show. It started out, it's going on season 4. Police detective in the asteroid belt was the first officer of an interplanetary ice freighter and an earthbound United Nations executive slowly discover a vast conspiracy that threatens the Earth's rebellious colony of the asteroid belt. So that's how the series kind of started. And it takes 100 years in the future. It takes place 100 years in the future. And things are different than where we are used to seeing humans. After they have colonized the solar system and Mars has become an independent military power, tensions rise between Earth and Mars, the Bloods and the Crips, it always happens. And a detective and a rogue ship's captain come together to investigate the case of a missing young woman. And the story just morphs from there, and it is really intriguing, and it's really, I really enjoy it. First, we had an opportunity to talk to Emmy Award winner Shohreh Aghdashloo. She plays Christian Vassalara on The Expanse, and also Frankie Adams, who plays Bobby Draper, and had a chance to talk to these two beautiful women about their characters. And one thing you're going to find out about their characters if you watch the show is that it kind of evolved over maybe like 3 or 4 episodes. They went from being enemies to being close friends, and had an opportunity to ask them about that. All right, when we look at both of your characters over the season, it really is like a mentor relationship. Is that how you would characterize it?
That's how I feel about this relationship. Absolutely. To Avasharala, Bobby is not just a young woman from Mars. She's the best pupil for her to mentor, to get friendly with, to understand the concept of Mars and what is going on there. But also, I love the relationship between the two women. They do not only like each other, but they're also very much interested in one another, and they're so protective of one another. It's just, it's amazing. I'm so proud of this relationship.
And how's it working with Shohreh? She's a wonderful actor.
I think I might have won the lottery because, anybody my age would be absolutely privileged to be on a show like this, and somehow I ended up working with Shohreh every day, which is just amazing. And I'm just like a sponge. I just want to absorb all the knowledge that she knows, and hopefully one day be as great as her.
You know, in the last episode, I knew you were going to kick some butt. I said, you're going to go in there and make it happen. How was it playing that role?
It was great. It was good because those guys were stunties. So usually I get a bit nervous if I'm working with an actor because I don't want to hit them accidentally or anything, or insurance, you know.
Yeah.
But stunt doubles, you can have more freedom with it, and they're so open to being beaten up. I think they find joy in it actually. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And Shohreh, you don't get revenge from being betrayed by that coward.
If I ever see him on the face of the earth again, I know what to do with him. I'll ask my goddess to take care of him. I'm beyond this now. I don't want to even see him. I'll send my angel. Can you believe it? Such a betrayer. I guess the real question, not just in fantasy and Expanse and science fiction, but in real world nowadays is, who is a hero? Who is a betrayer? Who is working for us people as a politician, real politician? Who is a betrayer and is a puppet politician? Because that's my question, I mean, personally.
And will you guys interact with the crew this season?
Yes, we're looking forward to it. We're very much looking forward to it because now that I'm in a space, this Martian gets to be in a space all the time. But now that Shohreh is in a space, the two of them are together. So the possibility of seeing each other is becoming more and more
Likely.
Yeah.
But we can't say too much. You know.
Well, it was an honor speaking to you both, and much success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Go solo.
Shohreh was amazing. She, even before the interview started, and maybe some of you have seen this live when we streamed it live on Facebook, she loved my bow tie and the color that I had, and she was just so awesome. And then when we were leaving the press room, I saw her, and I was going to go up to her and say, hey, Shohreh, do you mind if I take a picture? She came to me and said, can I take a picture of you and post it? I was like, can you? Of course you can. She put it on Instagram and Twitter. And here's an image of how many people liked that photo. I tell you, it's awesome to be admired by an Emmy award-winning actor, Shohreh Aghdashloo. She is awesome. Next up, we had an opportunity to talk to two more stars of The Expanse. Stephen Strait, who plays Jim Holden, and also Dominique Tipper, who plays Naomi Nagata. And their characters kind of morphed into something we didn't see, and had an opportunity to talk to them about the next season. Will we see some surprises or what's out there? And I even asked her, for some of you who watch the show, what's up with you and Fred Johnson? See, to really know what I'm talking about, you got to watch the show. You can catch up on demand. Sci-Fi has an app. You can catch them on demand. Amazon Prime. And see, that's what I'm talking about. The way that we consume TV has changed. Like my buddy Sean, who engineers the Tech Zone, who's one of the great guys over at ABC News Radio, KMET. Sean and I are both fans of The Man in High Castle. And I know we've binge watched that show. And I'm telling you, the way that we consume is different. But enough about streaming right now. But here, check out my conversation with Stephen and also Dominique.
Now, the way the season ended last season, it kind of threw us all for a loop. You guys are...
I'm sorry, okay?
I was like, what's up with you and Fred Johnson? Something you want to tell me? But talk about the dynamic going into the next season about your relationship.
Yeah, it's obviously a really hard time for Holden and Naomi. I mean, you know, they've been through all these things, and then that bombshell at the end really shatters the trust on this very fragile family on the Rossi crew. So, you know, I mean, they're trying to pick up the pieces in the third season, and they, you know, again, they're having to deal with all these crises. You know, so it's an urgent problem to kind of keep them all together, but it's hard right now. It's definitely a hard time for them.
And Naomi, are you going to eat a little bit of humble pie and try to get back in his good graces, or what?
I think that's the hard thing about starting off this season, is that although she feels sorry for the fact that she's broken all these relationships, she still very much stands by what she's done and thinks that it was the right thing. She's not she's not standing there going, I shouldn't have done it. She still believes it's the right thing. But I think it's that kind of situation, you know, I was just talking about it with Narain, our showrunner, where she can't leave the ship. So she has to just stay there and stew in her dirty bathwater, for want of a better metaphor. But yeah, she's trying to patch things up, but she's still standing by what she's done, so it's tough.
And the last question, will you guys interact with Bobby and Shohreh's character in season 3, or can you tell us that?
I don't know if we can say, but I will say this, is that, you know, there's definitely a lot of things people want to see will happen this year, and you know, Earth and Mars are about to start a war. If that war happens, we know what the protomolecule is doing. Big stuff is happening this year. The world continues to get more epic and yet more intimate as well.
Bobby and Avasarala are in space, and so are we. So maybe we're
I don't know.
close. Maybe we're dudes.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it, and great talking to you both.
No,
Thank
thanks so
you.
much, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you, dude.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, my dear.
You too.
Nice to meet you.
All right, I'd like to thank the great cast of The Expanse. Check it out. Stream it. Catch up. I tell you, the show is exciting. It will definitely keep you on your toes. And Sci-Fi has an app that you can catch up on a few episodes of the season, but you can also stream on Amazon Prime. And I know I love binge watching, and my buddy Sean at the station too. We both watched The Man in the High Castle, and I remember when I binge watched it first and told Sean, you got to check it out. And Sean binge watched it too. So the way that we're consuming things, you can catch up. Think about it for a second, folks. If you grew up in the 70s or 80s, once a show was gone, you had to wait for the reruns. They didn't even have it on VHS tapes. If you taped it yourself, you could. But the way technology is now, it's amazing. We can binge watch. Let's do it. Catch up on demand. Make sure you check out The Expanse. When we get back, we're going to talk to the men of the sci-fi show 12 Monkeys. Remember last show? We talked to the ladies of the 12 Monkeys sci-fi show. If you don't remember, you can catch up the episode. Go to my YouTube channel. If you want to listen to it, check it out on iTunes. Check it out on iHeartRadio. We got you covered. We'll be right back with more Tech Zone coming up right after these messages.